courtrooms became air conditioned. Now we have trials year round. And those old courtrooms still remain. I think I tried the last jury trial in the courtroom of the old courthouse in Stewart County, which was located in the block where the city hall used to be. And what I remember most distinctly was in that case, I had handed an exhibit to the jury panel, and they were handing it down the row, and somebody dropped it. And there was a space about that wide between the wall and the back of the jury panel, and the exhibit went clear to the first floor. I had to go down there, retrieve it, bring it back to the trial. So they really did need the courthouse. And they then replaced it with the one that's up between 3rd Street and 4th Street. And now we've replaced it again. The practice of law has grown a lot in Stewart County, but the number of lawyers hasn't changed a whole lot in the last 40 years or so. I think maybe there might be 25% more lawyers now than there was when I first started. But when I first started practicing here, there was only one clerk in the court, and she had one assistant, and most of the time they were playing canasta. Now I don't know how many we've got, but I'll bet it's over 10 people in the clerk's office. And it's in many different rooms in the old courthouse. So there's been a lot of expansion there, and the jail. The jails used to be on the 4th floor of those tall buildings, where it was really hot and more difficult to escape from. Now they're air conditioned. They're generally on the ground floor of the new courthouse. But there's a lot more cells than there used to be. I'll talk a little bit about court reporters, or shorthand reporters. When I started practicing, all the court reporters were shorthand people. They made scribbling what it looked like on a small pad that they carried with them. And a good one could keep up with the fastest talker in the courtroom. Didn't have any problem. I think shorthand was commonly taught in most high schools in those days. And with the advent of recording devices, those courses were dropped. And along about the early 50s, there was a shortage of shorthand court reporters that could do a good job. And the service, and I think some of the civilian courts went to what was called a steno mask. There's a few of those still in existence and used today, but it was just a mask that a person put over their face, and they repeated everything that they heard. And it was recorded then on a recording device. The sole purpose of the mask was just to keep the noise down from their talking in the courtroom. And from there they developed a steno machine, which looks like about half the size of a typewriter, has three or four rows of keys. I think it operates somewhat like the kids do on their telephones now with texting. That's what's in vogue at the present time. But in the past few years, there's been a lot of video used in taking depositions. One of the rules of appellate courts that have been in existence long before I began practicing was that appellate courts do not review the findings of fact made by a court in a bench trial or by a jury in a jury trial unless there's nothing in the record that would substantiate the existence of that kind of a fact. And the theory for doing that or having that rule was the court observed the witness when he testified, and so does the jury. And they're in a lot better position to judge the veracity of that witness by their demeanor and whether or not sweat breaks out on their forehead on cross-examination and things of that nature. And the trial court could, just reading the print and the record. I think we're not too far away from doing away with court reporters, and we're going to have videotapers in all the proceedings in the courtroom are going to be videotaped and placed on a record sent off to the appellate court. And I'm wondering what they're going to do about that law. I think they may change it because the courts have an inherent interest in the facts that are presented, and they always seem to want to arrive at their own conclusion as to what is correct from what the witness stated. So I'm thinking that in the future sometime that law is going to be changed. I want to comment one more thing, and that's about the cost of litigation today. When I first graduated from law school, Kansas, and Oklahoma, and most states followed what was called code pleading. And that meant when you filed a pleading, you had to state the facts on which you were relying in sufficient clarity that the court can determine whether you have stated a cause of action, and if you fail therein, the court was apt to sustain what they call a demurrer, which meant that that was the end of the case. At the same time, the federal courts were following a different rule, and that was called notice pleading. It was intended by the federal court to make it easy for non-lawyers to file a lawsuit if they wanted to do so. And under notice pleading, you really didn't have to say much other than, I claim you owe me some money. And then it was your duty as a defendant to find out what the facts were by discovery. And that has led to a very dramatic increase in the cost of litigation. And it's gotten so bad that the average person on the street really can't afford to get involved in any kind of lengthy litigation. And it really kind of took some of the fun out of being a lawyer. I liked it better when we had what I call trial by ambush. You just got your witnesses and went to the courthouse, and they brought their witnesses, and we put them on the stand, and we tried to impeach them by our clever questions. And it's taken all of that out.